Been Selby and Carter, the first to 10 to play the Shanghai Masters final. Mark Selby trailing 5-4. Ali Carter to get us back underway. And it's good evening to the inaugural winner of this iconic event, Dominic Dale.
Yes, good afternoon, Phil. Good evening, everybody. Different time zones, of course. This first frame could be a rather nervy affair because obviously if Mark Selby can win it, we'll be tied up again at 5-all. Ali Carter has a chance to establish a two-frame lead, which could be very handy. He's already halfway to victory. That's a wonderful pot, and this is what the top players are so capable of. They can begin a match with a pot like that, which back in my day, my early pro career, you didn't see so much of. Stephen Hendry was quite well known for beginning matches with pots like that and making century breaks in the very first frame, but nobody else was doing it really. Mark Selby was very impressive in beating Shaun Murphy particularly. I think Shaun Murphy only scored 52 points in the entirety of the match. But this is the sort of start that Mark Selby was looking for, being that he's a frame behind.
He's made a pair of 85 breaks, Selby, 63, and a further run of 80. In winning his 4 frames. He'll be a little disappointed not to have won the 9th as Carter watches on, because he did have a couple of chances to clinch it. That was another bit of good cueing. Not straightforward from close to the side cushion. But Selby, as we know,
16.
Rock solid mentally, like granite. Mind you, talking of resilience, Ali Carter has shown that in spades this week. Twice in a row he's come from 3 down with 4 to play against Mark Williams, and then again against Zhao Guodong.
Well, the Reds have opened beautifully, but Mark didn't quite control the cue ball as well as he wanted to there. Just skimmed off the rest just a little bit. Wanted a full ball cannon at the top of the pack, which didn't happen. That's why the cue ball has finished where it has, in no man's land, and I can't see a potable ball that he's likely to attempt here. Been a 50 break or more in every frame except for the last 2 frames of the session, and the pressure was beginning to tell a little more.
Selby, 22.
Ali Carter is not working with a coach this season, and he's mixed things up a bit in terms of his preparations. He's playing with various different players, including Zach Shurty up in Harlow. Of course, Carter hails from Essex himself, lives in Chelmsford. Just looking to keep himself fresh, change things up a bit. And on the evidence of this tournament, it's certainly working for him. And he's got previous, hasn't he, when it comes to doing well in a tournament he wasn't expected to play in. Back in 2020 at the Masters, Ronnie O'Sullivan withdrew. Carter got in as a result, and was actually in front in the final session of the final that year against his fellow Essex Q.S. Stuart Bingham, who eventually overtook him to win the title.
Mark Selby attempting a 3-ball plant here. Look at that, it was a certainty. Now he could have played the 2 reds and made a 2-ball plant, but positionally it could have gone completely wrong, so he played the outer red, as you'll see here, which enabled the cue ball to find a nice little gap around the angles for a choice of bulk colour. And you could see in the background there, Ali Carter was less than pleased that he didn't spot the potential for that 3-ball plant when he played his safety shot. It could prove very costly now.
3.
There's £35,000 riding on this match. Already 70,000 guaranteed for these two players, 105 guaranteed for the winner, and that will then double for the winner of the tournament to 210. So there's a lot at stake this weekend. These two players looking to become just the third multiple winner of this particular event, after O'Sullivan, who's won it 5 times, and Ding, who's won it a couple of times.
When I won the inaugural Shanghai Master, it was a ranking event in those days, but it hasn't been now for, I think it's about 7 years since it was a ranking event. It's just an invitational now, but still no less prestigious. Something that I've noticed as well through my career, that back in the day players used to practice before matches, but they wouldn't really hit a ball within about half an hour or even more of them actually playing their match. But these days a lot of the top players, they're practicing almost until the moment they're walking out to play the match, and that seems to make a big difference. They can start a match in a much sharper way.
Selby in particular has a wonderful record in this tournament in terms of sheer consistency. Aside from winning it back in 2011, he was runner-up to Ding in 2016. And before today, he'd appeared in 6 other semi-finals, so there's something about Shanghai, and indeed China generally, that agrees with Selby. He's won almost a third of his 24 ranking titles here. His third consecutive last 4 appearance.
I think Mark was rather surprised there that the slowness of the bounce off that side cushion. He's just about on this red in such a way as about to screw back for the blue. He gets a lot of reaction out the ball, Mark Selby. Wanted to be able to play for the black there, but he's played that so well, it hasn't mattered. Just needs this blue and then a red and high value colour to restore parity once again. So just this black to make the frame safe, but Mark Selby will be very keen here not to allow Ali Carter any time at the table, just to reaccustom himself to the way that the table's playing, wants to keep him as cold as possible.
Crowd acknowledging frame ball for Selby. This is exactly the start that he would have wanted. Carter was hoping
50.
to move 2 clear for the first time in this match. There's never been more than a frame between them. But in the event, he's not had a look in. Selby getting back in, having lost position courtesy of that 3-ball plant.
57.
Table's playing very heavily. Cue ball is stopping very quickly. I have noticed that Mark Selby during the course of this break has struggled at times to get the amount of stun required on the cue ball. He's almost cannonballs that he didn't intend to.
65. $71. 72.
That was an immaculately judged cannon.
75.
Mark Selby has made 898 century breaks, so if he can make one here, I'll have to say I fancy him to
76.
make the 900 mark during the course of this semi-final match. There's a long way to go.
$81. 83. 86. 90.
'This has been an immaculate break from Mark Selby. The first century of the semi-final and the perfect start to the evening session for the 4 times world champion. A century clearance from Mark Selby, his 4th of the tournament. As Dominic mentioned, the 899th of his extraordinary career. And this promises to be quite a battle. We're level again at 5 frames all. Mark Selby has made his first century at the semi-final to level with Ali Carter at 5 frames all. So both need 5 more for a place in the Shanghai Masters showpiece.
It's quite a rare thing to play a best of 19 semi-final in a ranking event. Back in 2007 when I won it, the final was best of 19, the semi-finals were best of 11. Well, that's a very attacking safety shot there, played by Ali Carter. Intentionally spread the reds far and wide. And that's probably something he's decided on, because of course Mark Selby is probably the greatest tactical player we have in the game. And so I don't think Ali Carter wants to be inveigled into that style of play, so he's trying to keep it an attacking match and open the balls out, so when an opportunity presents itself you could win the frame in one visit. But when you play a cue ball as badly as that, you can leave yourself open to an immediate counter-attack. And Mark Selby will be delighted with that position on the black.
Last season was, in the main, a success story for Selby. He won 2 more ranking titles, the British Open when he beat Higgins 10-5, and the Welsh Open, beating Maguire 9-6. He was runner-up to Higgins in the Tour Championship as well for the top 12 players on the 1-year ranking list. In fact, it looked like he would win that match at one stage. He led 8-5 and lost the last 5 frames. Oh, but he's missed the black. He'll be disappointed with that. Just undercut it. So that's a let off for Carter. Selby looking to build on the century in the first frame of the evening. But it's gone wrong immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking, because there can be a lot of humidity in Shanghai at certain times of the year, and certainly this cloth is playing as though there is a bit of moisture in the cloth. And when that happens, you can easily overcut or undercut, I beg your pardon, shots, because it's almost like you're playing shots and the cloth is almost like sort of deep grass. You tend to hit the balls a little thicker than intended when there's a little moisture in the cloth, as there is here. So I wonder if that was the reason for Mark's miss on that black previously. But he's in again here with a secondary opportunity.
So 3 missed pots in a row, allowing Carter a further chance, and Selby with a face like thunder, having missed that one. Carter has been scoring very heavily all week. The way in which he blitzed Mark Williams from 5-2 behind was so impressive. Williams didn't score a point in the last 3 frames, having played so well to lead 5-2.
Ali would love to cannon the 2 reds that are occupying the black spot there, because it's pointless potting the black at the moment. And with so many reds in open play, you'd be happy taking a risk to try and cannon those 2 reds. You'll expect to be on something else. Problem is, how does he get into those 2 reds? It's not going to be easy. So if he does pot the black,
6.
well, it could be tied up for the rest of the frame, really.
Turned 46 last week, Carter. 4 years the senior of Selby. He's been a pro now for nearly 3 decades. Former world number 2. And last season was an up and down one for him. He started it by winning the Championship League for the first time, the only player to have played in every edition of the Championship League. But then his form rather deserted him. He didn't get past the last 16 of any event before belatedly finding his touch towards the end of the campaign. Semi-finals at the World Open, the Welsh Open. And in the end, it was something of a surprise that he wasn't a seed for the Crucible. Of course, he came through qualifying and then lost to O'Sullivan. But here he is, despite being in 17th spot coming into this season, with a chance to win his 2nd Shanghai Masters title. What a start that would be to the campaign for him.
Here's the thing, he's potting the black here, and as you can see, the pink is easily available over the other corner. But the black will now go on the pink spots, and should Ali Carter pot the pink, that would be placed as close to its own spot as possible, and therefore be right behind and jammed up against the black. Something I wasn't sure of, though, until now, is that the fact that the black is available into this right corner. So, in retrospect, I think Ali's done the right thing there. As long as the black is available, and it is, he's okay.
28.
Well, doesn't have an easy positional shot to play here from the red to the left corner. He could easily screw back for the pink, but as I say, I don't think he'd want to pot the pink ordinarily, but he may be forced to. That's Selby, hoping for a positional error. Oh, what does Ali Carter play here, I wonder? Does he risk trying to screw through a gap of the reds to play for the blue?
29.
I think that's what he tried to do. He tried to screw back through the reds for position on the blue, and it hasn't worked out. The pink is cuttable, but it's very thin. Very thin. So that's the pink and the black tied up for now.
$35. $36.
Two shots Ali could play here. He could play a cannon on the two reds together by the black spot, or he could try and bring the pink and the black into play again. But then he'd have to hope that he's on his next red. There's more certainty if he plays a cannon into the two reds near the black spot.
$41.
Well, that certainly hasn't worked out. The blue actually was too thin a pot to be able to cannon into those two reds by the black spot I suggested. So that's end of break, but a very useful 40 points lead that he has. Can he protect it?
41.
Selby has been speaking this week about how he's set himself a target to return to the world #1 ranking, which he held for 4 years straight. Some achievement. It's going to be tough, clearly, not least because Judd Trump has a huge advantage right now. Wow, that was close. But as he said himself, you've got to set yourself targets, otherwise what's the point? And the one thing that he will be mindful of is his modest recent record in Triple Crown tournaments. Selby hasn't really made his mark in any of the Masters, UK or World Championships of late. But that's for later in the season. So Carter enjoying this very handy 40-point lead, but there are still a lot of points available.
Well, I don't know what Ali can do here except just drop onto the red that he's closest to. And it's right over the pocket. If he plays a safety shot into bulk, he's got to hide it, and hide it well. And he certainly doesn't want to bring the pink and black into play. So he's taken a little bit of a risk here. He's banking on covering this red. And I think he may well have done. I think he's played a really good shot there. This does seem a little displeased. I don't know why. It looks to be snookered the red. I'll have to have a better look. Maybe it's swervable around the green to cut it in. It was quite an easy swerve actually.
1.
And just see his snooker there, and you can just see the movement of the cue balls. It swerved around the green, nicely judged. But there's only one obvious possible red here for Mark Selby to play on.
Brown. Five.
If Mark Selby plays for a bulk colour here, it's easier to go into the reds. If he plays for the blue, he'd have to avoid cannoning the black on the way down to bring in the reds into play.
6. Eleven.
Now, if Mark Selby can just delicately cannon the two reds to the left, that would help enormously. Just a lot of side spin on the cue ball there, nearly caused a problem. He's still okay, just about,
17.
but not an easy positional shot from this red to the right corner.
Eighteen.
Took a bit of a risk there, Mark Selby. Cannoning into the black, he needed a full ball cannon to leave this cuttable red to the left corner. He's played it very nicely. I wouldn't suggest playing for the black here though, because once it's respotted it may cause positional problems for a couple of the reds either side of the black spot.
Twenty-four. 31.
Well, now the work really does begin for Mark Selby. I think he did play for the blue previously, ended up by playing the black because it's much easier to get onto a red. Well, he had a very close look to see if the black would pot into the right corner. If it does, it's not a problem. And this would really hurt Ali Carter.
39.
Tried to Play a safety shot into bolt the snooker red that was hanging over this left corner, and played it okay, but not quite well enough. Mark Selby was able to swerve around the green to pot it. And this break is the result of that, and he can just pot this red and hold for the pink. And we certainly have a new favourite for this frame now. Very straight on this red, so just have to roll it in for position on the pink, but that will be the key shot to pot the pink and come off the side cushion and go for the yellow. I'm assuming he's dead straight on this red. I thought he was straight on the previous one, but he wasn't. Well, there you go. He's got enough angle to work with to screw off the side cushion and play for the black if he wishes. He has decided on the pink. Well, this is the key shot coming up for Mark Selby. If he plays this well, the frame is at his mercy.
And he couldn't have played it much better than that. So this would be a big steal for Selby from 40 behind. He needs up to the brown. The tight frames always feel that little bit more significant than the ones won in a clean kill with a big break, because by definition both players have been in contention. Carter looked the favourite when he built that lead. The balls were not straightforward. The pink and black were for a time out of commission, but Selby has engineered what looks likely to be a frame-winning break. So this for 6-5. He's taken them very well, and it's been a great start to the final session for Selby. Started with a century, made a couple of potting errors early in this one, but it's proved not to be significant when given the chance to get back in, courtesy of that swerve. He has made full capital of the opportunity. And seems to be cueing exceptionally well. They both are, and that's why it's such a tight semi-final. And remains so. Still only one frame between them, but now it's Mark Selby who's edged in front with back-to-back frames on the resumption this evening in Shanghai, and now within 4 of making the final. Mark Selby leads Ali Carter 6-5. The first session with Mark Selby finding himself 5-4 behind, with Carter stealing that 9th frame of session 1 on the black, but a century and a good comeback in the second of the evening session to move to within 4 of the final. A long way to go. Selby now looking to move 2 clear for the first time. The winner, of course, to play either the reigning world champion Zhao Jintong or the man he relieved of the crown, Kyron Wilson. They do battle tomorrow. A little bit short from Selby with that safety, but he's got him behind the brown nevertheless. And that was not good from Carter.
Yeah, once again, the reaction of the cue ball on the cloth when using side spin is causing issues. It's just a little bit of humidity, that's all, that the players are far less familiar with. Playing predominantly, of course, in the UK.
Selby normally very reliable with the rest, one of the better players with that implement, but again, too thick. So something of a lead off for Carter after the safety mistake. Now can he get himself back in and flowing again, courtesy of this long range red. Just not quite happening for him at the moment. On the resumption, the pained expression telling the story.
It's just the way he's lost those first two frames. He didn't spot the potential for a plant, and he left it for Mark Selby, who took full advantage of it with the 108 break. And then the last frame, he tried to hide a red and didn't do it sufficiently well enough. And that cost him the frame, but Mark Selby makes mistakes of his own, who knows what can happen, but run of the ball can be so important. And unless there's a chance of a plant into this right corner, Mark Selby's got away with that. There you go, there was a plant. And it was a certainty as well. And this is a good chance, Raleigh Carter. The reds are spread quite nicely, the black's in open play. The blue will be on its spot very shortly. Needs to do something now to raise somewhat the disappointment of losing those first two frames.
6. Seven.
I think the blue will have to be his chosen ball here, because he can just run through a foot or so, and there's a little red in the middle of that group of 5, just above the black there, that would pot into the left corner. And he's played that perfectly.
Thirteen. Twenty. And 1.
Carter made his own century in the first session, along with 76 and 70. He's made 4 for the tournament, but a string of other frame-winning breaks. He's been playing in very aggressive and quick-fire fashion. Reeled off 4 straight frames against Mark Williams in no time.
He'd love to play a little cannon here into the right-hand red of the two together above the black. But if it goes wrong, he could be on nothing. Can't really get into those 4 reds. Just below the pink either, because of that red that's above the black. It's blocking the path a little bit. Doesn't have a straightforward positional shot here, unless he decides to play for a red just to the left of those 4 by the pink, which he's decided to do, it would seem.
$28. 29.
Applause, but that was very fortunate. Ali didn't intend to cannon both reds together there. He's still on this red though, to the left centre.
$37. $43. $44.
So Carter getting himself into a position where he can start to think about levelling this match once again. This break the result of Selby overcutting a red to the right corner by quite a margin, and he didn't get away with it, leaving the plant.
51.
I wonder what sort of an angle Ali has here on this red. Can he push through for the black? I thought he could, but he hasn't judged it well. This black is very thin now and therefore very missable. And there's certainly no positional guarantees with it either.
A big shot this early in the final session. And well negotiated. That had to go. Look at what he was leaving if he'd missed it. A very presentable counter for Selby. As it is, a chance for Carter to wrap up the frame.
$60.
It's been like this from ball one. Nip and tuck. Never more than a frame between them. And that looks likely to continue.
$65.
Red and the colour should do it.
$66.
Warm applause from the audience here. They're engrossed in this match because there's very little to separate these players. This is a very good rearguard action from Ali Carter. Chance to make his second century of the semi-final here.
$77.
Their 21st meeting, the first time they've played over this distance, the best of 19 frames. Mark Selby has won the long matches between the pair, 2 at the World Championship, including a thriller back in 2007 when Selby made the final for the first time, 13-12. (13-9) at the Crucible 7 years later to Selby, and their other long match was a title match, the Wuxi Classic, which he won 9-7. But this has been a lovely break from Carter, a good riposte to the disappointment in particular of the last frame when he was 40 in front, couldn't convert.
.94.
For the 49th century of the tournament. And Carter's 5th.
101. (102). 109. 111. 114. 118. 123. 129.
'Would have been his highest break of the tournament had the black gone in. He decided to give it a whack. Oh, hang on. Well, it's a century nevertheless, and a top quality one from the captain, as he's known, to tie this intriguing semi-final up once again here in Shanghai. It's 6 frames all. 108 and 81 from Mark Selby to move from 5-4 down to 6-5 up, but Ali Carter has hit back with his second century of this semi-final, a 1-2-9. So we're level again, and it's now a best of 7 frame match from here for a place in the Shanghai Masters final, in a meeting with either Kyron Wilson or Zhao Jintong, who play tomorrow.
There's no doubt Ali Carter will feel a lot better having won his first frame of this evening session of this semi-final. But he didn't create that opportunity, he was given it by Mark Selby. Well, he's missed that completely.
Yes, it looked as though Selby might have got away with the misread to the right corner initially, but as Dominic noticed, there was the chance of the plant. In the event, it was an easy one, and then Carter made full capital from that chance with his second century. But that has not gone according to plan, so Selby's going to get another opportunity here to get back in.
Do you know, he hit that so poorly. He was attempting a plant there and certain of it into the right corner, but completely misstruck the cue ball. And look where it's finished, right in the middle of the table. He's just been fortunate a little bit there, Ali, though, because in playing that plant, he's tied the black up. But I wonder if Mark Selby could try to bring it into play here.
One.
Didn't want the cannon on the red, which has scuppered his plans.
Well, at least he could bring the black into play here. He could feather edge it, leave the cue ball near this left corner pocket. He wouldn't be leaving any pot on, and Ali would probably play a safety off the red in bulk, or near bulk, and bring it back down this end of the table.
Must be 1.
I think Mark Selby, though, should have really put that cue ball closer to the left-hand corner pocket. Wouldn't have been quite so easy for Ali to play this red back down this end of the table. Rather impish expression there on the face of Ali Carter. He's completely right, really, in the fact that Mark Selby was lucky there that he's blocked this red that's finished near the left corner, or the right corner, but I beg your pardon. Right corner from that angle, left corner from this perspective. And of course it's a problem now for Ali. He's got to somehow hide it. Ali may be able to bring the black into play a little more here. Oh, this red's finishing towards the corner pocket, though. Cue ball's coming out of bulk. Well, One very good straight red here from Mark Selby. He could hold for the black, but it's a very, very awkward pot. Long pots are very difficult when you're playing them on the diagonal, because you're sort of standing in the middle of nowhere and you can easily cue right across these. Oh, beautifully played.
One.
He missed a much more straightforward red than this one into that pocket in the previous frame, which cost him. Led to Carter's century, but that was sweetly struck. This is the final frame before the final interval.
Six.
It's done up for the blue once again, and he'll have the choice whether or not to go into the pack of reds. There are a couple of loose ones he can play for, but
Seven.
with that red being near the right corner, he'll probably feel that if he does go into them, he's almost certain to be on something. But for now, there are still one or two loose ones he can play for. You can see how precise he had to be there to find that gap for this red. But if he screws back for the black here, to judge it well won't be easy by any means. Not on such a heavy cloth.
Thirteen.
That was a good black because he did overscrew the cue ball quite a bit there. That was a much thinner black than
One.
he wanted it to be.
One.
After this red to the right corner, there's one more loose red he could play for, so will he leave an angle on the black here to go into them? They're already quite nicely detached from one another, so they should break open quite nicely from the black.
Thirty-six. $37. $42. $43.
Every chance now for career century number 900. What a landmark that is.
That statistic gives lie to the idea that Selby is only about grind and tactics. One of the heaviest scorers in the game's history. Only 4 other players have made in excess of 900. Of course, O'Sullivan, Trump and Higgins have all passed the 1,000 mark now. Neil Robertson next in line on 985.
58.
But what a standard these two are setting once again.
9.
Selby starting the evening with a century. Following up with 81, Carter responding with 129, and now this break,
64.
which certainly looks to be frame winning. Just a question of how many it'll be. This is the ball that will clinch it.
Well, I'd be very pleased with this little mini session of 4 frames. Mark Selby began the session a frame behind, but he'll probably end it now a frame up. But can he push on from this when the match resumes in about 15 to 20 minutes from now?
68.
And it was a terrific red to get in, wasn't it? Long range, struck it superbly,
5.
very missable.
I was just going to say, Phil, you always know when Ali Carter's ready to walk out the arena, because he doesn't play with a watch on, but it was on his wrist there, so he's ready to walk out.
$83. 84.
Not quite the cannon he wanted, but there's still a chance.
91.
He'll have to wait for century number 900, but that was a superb break of 91 from Mark Selby. He's won the mini session 3-1. He'll be more than happy with that. But there's still just 1 frame between this pair, as there's been all the way through this first Shanghai Masters semi-final. This match is still well and truly in the balance, but it's Selby who has the edge as they go off to their 15-minute interval. He leads Ali Carter by 7 frames to 6. Back underway for the final act of our first semi-final here at the Shanghai Masters. Mark Selby and Ali Carter. Tomorrow, of course, it's Xiao Jintong and Kyron Wilson. And Selby within 3 frames, courtesy of breaks of 108, 81 and 91 on the resumption this evening. He took that mini session 3-1. Carter weighing in with 129. But never more than a frame between this pair. Selby would love to change that in this one. Their 21st meeting, Selby leads the head-to-head 13-7. Carter, who didn't expect to be in this tournament until a couple of weeks ago. And now within 4 frames of contesting the final, having won this 15 years ago.
Just thinking, Phil, the boot's on the other foot now, isn't it? Because Ali Carter has come back into the auditorium to resume this match to its conclusion, and he's a frame behind now. At the beginning of the evening session, it was Mark Selby a frame adrift. So a very important frame, not every frame of critical importance now, because time begins to run out as one player draws ever closer to the winning line. In this case, winning line would be 10 frames. Best of 19 frame encounter, this semi-final. The other one, of course, be played tomorrow. Kyan Wilson against our current world champion, Zhao Xintong. What a match that is. Just slightly miscontrolled that, Mark Selby. Don't think this red is likely to be attempted by Ali Carter. Oh, this is what I mentioned earlier. Mark Selby has such a superior tactical game that Ali Carter wants to try and, if he can in most cases, spread the reds far and wide so that he has the opportunity to score heavily instead of being forced to play this style of snooker against one of the world's greatest. But he has a good tactical game of his own, Ali Carter. What a shot he's just played there. Magnificent reply.
Very different sort of match to Mark Selby's semi-final here 12 months ago, when he actually led Sean Murphy 6-2 at one stage, but was overhauled to be defeated 10-8. This has been nip and tuck from the get-go. Of course, he avenged that loss in handsome fashion this week, drubbing Murphy 6-0. Yeah, good escape, acknowledged by Carter.
Great first 4 frames of this evening session of this match. Breaks of 108, 81, 129 and 91. Very, very high standard of break building from both players. Played that very nicely. Just a little unfortunate, really, that the cue ball cannoned the brown. Ali could attempt this red, but he'd have to screw across the table to leave the blue into the left centre. He'd have to be careful to avoid screwing it off.
Carl's having a quick look to see if anything goes into that left corner for Selby. Would appear it does. There's the proof.
And even worse for the Essex cue man is that the pink is available into the left centre, so from nowhere this is a decent opportunity for Mark Selby. The pink spot's occupied, so that would have to go on the brown spot if he does pot it. Oh, but he hasn't.
Well, that is a major surprise. That might be the most routine pot that's been missed in this semi-final thus far. What an opportunity squandered by Selby, and what a let-off for Carter.
Well, if Ali is on a red to this left corner, the black is available into the right corner. He may not be able to play for the black just yet, but you consider the position of the reds, this could be a frame-winning chance.
These top players are so good that any miss comes as something of a shock, but that was, by Selby's standards, pretty routine and could be very expensive. It was an opportunity for him to potentially move two clear for the first time at a key juncture of this semi-final, and now it's up to Carter to punish him and in the process get himself level again.
8.
Must be worth playing now for the red nearest this left corner, because it'd be simple to play for the black into the right corner, and then you'd be right in amongst them then. So it didn't matter that Ali's played the cue ball into bolt because of the red. You couldn't miss it really. And with very little to do with the cue ball, I expect him to get nice on the black from this. But that's a poor shot. Quite often the player will play that with a little trace of side spin, left-hand side in that case, and maybe it just threw the cue ball a little bit and Ali misjudged it, so potted the red on the thick side, and that's why he's left an awkward black. We'll probably have to play a little cannon into the group of reds above it now, just to hold the cue ball in position in the hope that he'll finish on a red, because he certainly couldn't guarantee it.
So Mark Selby's missed pink, proving not to be expensive.
One.
Must be tempting for Mark Selby to screw into the reds here, because there aren't many of them available. That's what he's chosen to do. Oh, he's found a very unlikely gap. But I'm sure he expected to be on something, and he certainly is. But he hasn't brought many reds into play.
9.
Just goes to show how easily things can go wrong. I'm not sure that Mark can cut this red into the centre pocket. I certainly can't. And there's nothing else that I can see available. I think that's end of break. Is there something that pots? Oh, the red that's just below the pink is just available.
It was no gimme though, and he's caught another red in the process, so maybe
Selby.
the first
16.
signs of a few nerves kicking in, the tension mounting as we head towards the climax of this semi-final. Both players have had chances already in this frame that haven't amounted to much.
Oh, that red that Mark Selby missed, maybe he only had the top half of the pocket to go at there. Now he's going to use the bottom jaw of the middle pocket here to ricochet the cue ball back into bulk. It's a shot that comes up from time to time, but they're never easy to judge. Well, he was intimating with his cue that he was going to play the shot that I suggested in the end. He just played the simple cross double on the red to safety.
A rueful smile from Carter, and it looks like he's left the red just a little too thin.
I don't blame Ali Carter for attempting that red. As I say, Mark Selby is just one of the greatest tactical players this game's ever seen, and very few players can compete with Mark Selby in that department of the game. So Ali Carter is trying to make this a more attacking match and play to his strengths, and that would be to take a few on.
Eight. Nine. 16. 17.
So Mark Selby with what looks like a very presentable opportunity to move 2 clear for the first time and within 2 of the final.
Four. 25. 32.
And if you look at the way this session has gone this evening, if you put it in context, Mark Selby, should he win this frame, and he looks a big favourite to now,
33.
he'll have won 4 out of the first 5 frames of this evening's play, and it's looking like he could win this match fairly comfortably, unless Ali can change that somehow.
Forty-one.
44 the lead, 51 with the black, 1 more red required to secure the frame. Carter took on the long range red. It was tricky, it was thin, and he just overcut it,
8.
left it for Selby. So this for 8-6.
49.
It feels like a significant move from Selby. As Dominic has indicated, he's bossed this evening's session so far. And it's now up to Carter to conjure a response and keep himself in the match. That said, of course, he's already come from 3 down with 4 to play on 2 occasions. So he'll still believe for sure that he can turn this his way. But Selby looking strong.
62. 62 at the frame, Marcel.
Another frame-winning break in this match of very high quality. It's gone the way of Mark Selby, and for the first time in the match, a 2-frame cushion. Mark Selby leading Ali Carter 8-6. 2 more needed for a place in the final. Mark Selby has made a move, 8-6 clear, and within 2 frames of the Shanghai Masters final meeting with either Zhao Xintong or Kyron Wilson, who play tomorrow. Not the best break-off, though. The reds come back up the table. It's cuttable for Carter. He's had a habit of coming from behind in this tournament very successfully. Oh, but he's just overcut the red. At least he's not left it.
Be interested to see what sort of a safety Mark Selby plays here, because had this been Ali Carter's shot, he'd be splitting these reds open as much as he could and getting a good cue ball. I'm not sure Mark Selby wants to do quite that. There you go, a little bit thinner off the reds. And perhaps Ali Carter would have played, but it's not the best safety. The cannon on the brown means that Ali Carter can attempt this red to the left corner. The cue ball will be going in behind the black and towards bulk again. But he's under a lot of pressure now. If Mark Selby wins this frame, Ali Carter would have to win 4 in a row to beat him. Oh, so close. It was a decent effort, but these need to start finding their target now for Ali Carter. He's going to have to start potting these.
One.
A little fortunate to kiss the brown to knock it on for a pot, but he may be slightly hampered by the yellow. But he has that red to the right of the main bunch to play for.
Five. Six.
Mark can either play for the red below the black or one into the same pocket. He's screwed on and off the cushion, but he hasn't left himself straight enough on the red to play for the black. He'll have to screw off the main bunch and go up for the blue, and you've just got to be a little bit careful sometimes you don't screw it off in the middle pocket. All depends how much of the pack of reds he catches here with the cue ball.
Fourteen.
There have been 12 breaks of over 60 in this match, including 3 centuries. 8 of those 12 breaks have been made by Selby, who has to settle for a safety. So
Selby,
a disappointing premature end to that visit. Carter, as we've mentioned, has been a picture of resilience this week. And twice coming from 3 down with 4 to play, but to do it a third time against Mark Selby in the form he's showing would be a very big ask. And that's gone awry.
It wasn't an easy safety shot to play. I think Mark Selby was fortunate because the green finished right in front of the pack of reds from Ali Carter's point of view. He couldn't play the shot that he would have played had the green not stopped where it did. That's a useful little kiss from the red. It's left him nicely on yellow or brown, but because this cloth is a little on the heavy side, it won't be easy to dig down into the cue ball and get the amount of spin required here to finish nicely on his next red.
Three.
He's not been as reliable with the rest as he normally is, Selby. He's missed a couple, and that's another one that's gone astray. So he's had a couple of chances already in this frame that haven't amounted to a great deal. That one was well wide of the mark. So Carter back at the table, only 17 adrift, and he would have expected much greater damage after the error just now. Huge frame for him.
Oh, there are two reds near the pink spot, and I'm just wondering whether they may be a plant to this right corner. It's impossible to tell. But Mark Selby could play a good safety shot from them in addition to attempting the plant, if there's a chance of it. Would you believe it? They were a plant. It's little things like that that can win frames, can win matches. It would just go past that red. Now, is he on the green? Well, it's another little bit of good fortune, because he has a lovely angle on the green to work with.
Four. Five.
The red just above the black, slightly to the right, is one he could cannon into here, would leave him in good position. Played it nicely. May have a choice of reds.
12. Thirteen. Nineteen.
It would be easier for Mark to play for the black here rather than the blue. It's easier to get onto the reds.
Twenty.
Doesn't want to be straight on the black. It looks as though he has finished rather straight on it. And that could be a problem. It may force Mark to play for the reds along the top cushion next. Does he have an angle to work with? Oh, he does, just a slight angle. But it wasn't really enough. This isn't straightforward.
27. Eight.
Well, the reds are now beautifully spread, but Selby's going to need another good pot on a colour to maintain this break. If this goes to plan, it should be 9-6. Bit of pressure on it though. And so Ali Carter does get the chance for a counter in what is a seismic frame in this semi-final. The difference between 9-6 and 8-7. And Selby has had a number of chances in this frame, but hasn't quite been able to make them pay as he normally does.
Well, that was pure pressure there that caused Mark Selby to miss the blue so badly. Wasn't in control of his emotions. He allowed the scoreboard situation to get the better of him there.
And there's nothing safe, so this is a genuine chance for Carter to at the very least get right back in contention, if not pinch the frame. And what a big one it would be to pinch. But of course there's bags of pressure on his shoulders as well to make that happen.
Eight. Nine. Fourteen. Fifteen.
Just wanted to be a little straight on the black. Because of where he is, he'll probably have to play a cannon on the red near the pink spot now. Oh, he was able to play a slow drag. That's not an easy shot to play. But I'm not sure he can play for the black from this red.
22.
Had he stunned into it previously, certainly could have done. Is he straight enough on it? Just about.
23.
Big pressure here on the shoulders of Ali Carter. 8-7. This match is still anybody's. 9-6. He's got it all to do.
And this would hurt Selby for sure. He had a great chance
30.
to take that 9-6 lead. Missed the blue.
31.
But these have still got to be potted.
Another key point to make here is that the fact that Ali has managed to take high value colours with all of these reds. He won't need that slightly awkwardly positioned pink.
Well, that rattled, but it's dropped.
39.
So looking for one good positional shot off this black onto yellow. And the frame should be his.
This yellow's a little bit thin. When the pressure's really on you, anything with a big angle can be missed. So Ali's going to take a lot of care with this yellow. He doesn't need to play it with any great pace, but it's a little thinner than desired.
Just checking the scoreboard to confirm what Dominic has already indicated, that he doesn't need the potentially awkward pink.
51.
And Mark Selby will be suffering a little, I think, in his chair. He had a number of chances in this frame, and had that long range blue gone in, it was surely going to be 9-6 as it is. Carter needs just this blue
55.
to stay well and truly in touch. Having a good look at where he wants to be on the pink, but it's only the blue needed. Selby would need a snooker.
Well, it really doesn't matter too much about the position on the pink. For me, I'll be playing it into the yellow pocket, because if you just drop it in pocket weight and it doesn't go in, there's no way Mark Selby would be able to keep it on the table.
That is a huge frame for Ali Carter. Mark Selby will feel he should have won it with the opportunities he had, but he missed the pressure blue from mid-range, and Carter has stepped in to punish him. How significant will that frame prove to be, as Mark Selby's lead is shaved to 8 frames to 7? Huge one for Ali Carter to steal. He cleared to the pink after Mark Selby had missed a blue when he was just a couple of balls away from 9-6, and a firm stranglehold on this semi-final as it is. Back to just a frame between them. 8-7. Selby leads. He needs 2. Carter needs 3. Zhao Jintong and Kyron Wilson to do battle tomorrow.
Oh, was Ali Carter's break-off shot an unfortunate one there? Is there a chance of a plant to this left corner? Mark Selby will be suffering now. He was just moments away from a 9-6 lead, but all of a sudden it's just 8-7. If Ali Carter can win this frame, you'd have to make him favourite to win the match.
Carter has been so good throughout this week at playing those thin snicks back to baulk. He's always been a very capable safety player, but we've certainly seen that in evidence this week, allied to the heavy scoring he's put together throughout the tournament. And that has produced something of an error from Selby in catching the brown, leaving the cue ball pretty much on the brown spot.
Ali had to run the cue ball through there for position on the black because of the two reds together that were slightly in the path of the black, and because of that he's left a very awkward black now, and he's going to have to dig into the cue ball to cannon the two reds above the black to hold for a red. Well done, played that wonderfully.
He would have got a huge boost from winning the previous frame. He was a big second favourite throughout it. Selby just couldn't kill it off.
Well, the question I'm asking myself is, when the pressure's really on, when both players are feeling it, who's likely to perform the best, and early indications suggest to me that it could be Ali Carter that performs best when the pressure's on.
He would have taken so much confidence from the way in which he was able to turn around his previous two matches here. He looked dead and buried against Mark Williams, who was playing very well to lead 5-2. And Williams
16.
barely had a look in from there. And it was a similar story against Zhao Guodong.
17.
It was a very nervy final frame, but Carter handled those nerves rather better than Zhao did.
Just a bit miscontrolled this from Ali. He wanted to catch the left-hand side of those reds. Because of the red that's nearest the left centre, he would have been on it, but he just caught too much of the reds, went into the middle of them, and that's why he's finished nowhere, really. Is he considering a very missable red to the green pocket? He can play for the black from it, but if he misses this, it may not be safe. Is this too risky? I have to suggest that I feel it is.
He's very close to the red, and that can make judging the angle that much trickier.
He's got to realise he needs to win this frame, otherwise he could be 9-7 behind and have it all to do. And just look at the position of these reds. If he plays for the black, is everything going to be safe if this red doesn't go in?
Up very quickly, and that's very rarely a good sign. Missed it by quite a margin.
Wow, you really would think that the red closest to that left centre is possible, but doesn't it just go to show how strictly these pockets are cut for Mark Selby not to even be looking at it? Just reminding myself of a match that Mark Selby was involved in at the back end of last season in the Tour Championship final. He led John Higgins, looked favourite to win, but just faltered when it mattered most. And could the same thing happen here?
One. Green. My Carter 1.
Well, this could be a rather lengthy frame with the pink and black both tied up and the reds configured the way they are. Mark Selby can't play back to bolt from here, but can easily leave the cue ball on the top cushion behind all of those reds.
Yes, it's been a very free-flowing match, actually. We had that 30-minute plus frame at the end of the first session, which Carter won on the final black, coming from behind to do so. Aside from that, it's been about the breaks, really. But inevitably, as we get to the sharp end of this semi-final, things become more tense, there's more pressure, and more likelihood for mistakes.
If you look at things here from Mark Selby's point of view, he'd love to somehow be able to bring either the pink or black into play. He'll be hoping that a safety shot later on in this frame will provide that opportunity. Good look there at the centre pocket and how difficult they are from an acute angle to pop balls into them. The pink is the biggest problem here for Ali Carter. He could play a safety shot quite easily back into bolt. Had that pink not been so close to the side cushion, it'd be so easy for the cue ball to cannon into it. Got to be very careful.
red over the corner, but doesn't look as though Selby can get through to it.
Well, he can't really leave it there. He can either just try and rest against it, which I certainly don't think he would do, because he could leave other pots on. He may take this red on that's to the left of the blue to screw back across the side of the table in the hope that he'll pot this red in off the other one or directly. Oh, good effort. He'll be pleased with the results. I don't think he's left anything.
Tense stuff, isn't it? This frame has ground to a bit of a halt at the moment. Although now the black is in play. Carter with that modest lead, looking to draw level from 8-6 and very nearly 9-6 behind.
Well, now this black is in play. It's thrown an entirely different light on the complexion of this frame. One mistake from Ali Carter could be decisive. Even more so from Mark Selby's point of view, with the 25 points lead that Ali already has. Every safety shot now is of critical importance. And it makes such a big difference if you can get that cue ball so tight to the cushion rail there, because then your opponent can only play a shot with topspin. You can't apply any side spin to the ball so close to the cushion. And you're very limited then with what you're able to play.
Foul. I cut a 4.
I think there's a bit of wildlife in the arena that's causing a bit of a distraction for the players. Another handy 4-point bonus for Carter. You would think whoever gets in next with the table as it is could do some significant damage. This has been one of the longest safety bouts in the match so far, if not the longest. A vital one.
Do you know, this is really awkward for Ali Carter. I can't see any shots or nothing that he can line up anywhere, but it's always a bit of a risk to give the game's greatest tactical player ball in hand, and he's been forced to here, Ali, really. He's just got to hope that Mark Selby doesn't find a shot somewhere that will put him in trouble. Yes, that's a very good safety shot that Mark Selby has found there. Ali has a big problem here with the red spread left and right. It's not easy to get the cue ball back to bulk. He's in a bit of trouble here, Ali Carter. The red just to the right of the black, I don't know if you can see enough of that to clip the left-hand side of it to get back into bulk. If he could even get the cue ball behind the brown. Well, appears that he is playing off that red. Oh, well, he was forced to take the pot on. He obviously couldn't see enough of the left-hand side of that red to play a safety off it, and there wasn't any other shot that I could see. So he had to take the pot on, and what a pot that was, under the most intense pressure. That's a wonderful shot.
He's looked to be aggressive throughout this tournament, even when he's been in dire straits, as he was in his last two matches. 5-2 down in a race to 6, and it's paid off for him, and it may well pay off for him again. The previous frame was a huge one for Carter to win, when it looked very likely that he'd have to win 4 in a row, as with the previous 2 rounds. Now he's got a great chance to tie it up at 8-all. And at the moment, you'd have to say he's looking the more likely of the two. But there are bound to be further twists before we know the winner.
Well, that red that he knocked in, if he could have seen the left-hand edge of it, he would most certainly have played a safety shot, because it wouldn't have been too difficult, and he would have had the opportunity to get the cue ball in behind the brown, but, well, clearly he couldn't see enough of the left-hand side of it, so that shot wasn't on, and there wasn't another he could have played, so was forced into the pot, and what a pot it was. And with the lead that he already has, surely now it's going to be 8-all in just a few moments' time.
That's 2. 23. 30. $31.
75 left, so this black, another red, and a further colour to be sure.
$38.
Mark Selby, you always need that extra insurance because he's so skilled at getting snookers. But he now needs one, and it seems unlikely he'll get to play for them. And what a great red it was from Carter to get himself out of trouble and give himself the chance to tie this semi-final up once again. His career has been defined by resilience, fighting qualities. We know of the off-the-table issues he's had to contend with throughout his pro career. And we've seen his bounce-back ability on the table time and time again throughout this tournament. And he's doing it again from 8-6 behind. Selby was effectively a ball away from 9-6. But now it's a best of 3 for a place in the final.
62.
And Carter has the momentum.
$63.
Well, he's been a professional player 3 years longer than Mark Selby.
70.
He's made less than half the number of centuries that Mark Selby has made in his career.
71.
And he's 13-7 down in the head-to-heads, but I think he's favourite to win this match at the moment.
It's been quite a lengthy frame, which makes the scoreboard look a little odd. Selby hasn't potted a ball. We had that protracted safety exchange. Ended with Carter slamming in a red, which, had he missed it, could well have seen Selby turning the frame his way, but he got it. He was rewarded for his courage in going all out for the pot.
83.
The yellow doesn't matter, and so this match continues to intrigue. What a battle it's been. And we are level yet again. Mark Selby led 8-6, very nearly 9-6, but now it's 8 each. To tell, and at the moment, Ali Carter is maybe handling that a little better. Mark Selby had a golden opportunity to lead 9-6. 3 up with 4 to play, couldn't quite take it. Carter has played exceptionally well to punish his failure to take that chance, and has whitewashed Carter, Selby I should say, in frame 16 to level it up. So 8 each, both needing 2, and Carter immediately, it would seem, with an opportunity to continue his good work, Dom.
Absolutely, Phil. Just look at that bungled break-off shot from Mark Selby. Pressure really beginning to show now on him, it would appear. But it's up to Ali Carter now to take advantage of these mistakes. Needs that cue ball to slow down or run on. Goodness me, it's almost downhill there. I thought there'd be a chance of him being on the green into the yellow pocket. As it is, it's nicely on it into the left-hand centre pocket. But yeah, Mark Selby just seems to be faltering a little bit now. Ever since he missed that blue into the green pocket when he was set to take a 9-6 lead, it's all gone wrong since then. He's really beginning to feel it. But some of that is due in no small part to the fact that Ali Carter is looking very, very dangerous. Interesting bit of trivia for you, actually, because when I played in this tournament back in 2007, it was the inaugural Shanghai Masters. It was the very, very first time that we'd played on a star snooker table in professional sport, in professional snooker rather. We'd never seen one before until this tournament began back in 2007, and now we're playing on them all the time.
5.
A little lucky there, Ali Carter, when he saw the cue ball rebound off the side cushion. He was hoping it had a bit of check side to come underneath these reds, and it has, and it's finished beautifully. Have a look at this. Comes off the pack. Ali has no idea how that cue ball is going to react off the side cushion, whether there's spin on it or not. And it finished perfectly.
13.
There's something extra special about a tournament that features the very best in the world, the top 16. Of course, we started with a field of 24, including 4 local wildcards. But it is the creme de la creme contesting this big money event. And that means that it's all the sweeter if you come out at the end of the week with the trophy, because you know you've beaten the best in order to claim the title. Ali Carter has twice been a Masters finalist, which of course also features the best 16 players in the world. The last time he was given an into a tournament which he hadn't qualified for. 2020 version of the Masters came within a few frames of claiming the title, ultimately losing out to Stuart Bingham. So he's got his own tester on the blue here to keep the break going. But he looks very confident right now, Carter.
Yeah, the reason he had to take that blue one into the green pocket was that he got too much action on the cue ball previously and cannoned into red. He tried to avoid, and strangely enough though, this red is at least as difficult as the blue, because it sets him up to be back in prime position if he knocks it in.
35. Two.
Very tenacious player, Ali Carter. Always carries a very intense expression, almost of a person about to commit a serious crime, you feel.
As you can see, very straight on this blue, so can only roll through for the red. So again, a bit of a tester under this sort of pressure now as we head towards the climax of this match, but at the moment he's handling everything that's been thrown at him, as he's done right from the start of this event.
Now, is the red at the back of the pack that will pot into the corner pocket? I'm just worried that if he goes into these reds and cannons the pink 4-ball, there are 2 reds just below the pink, and the bottom of the 2 reds may just deflect off the red below it, and therefore go very dangerously close to this left-hand corner. As Ali spotted that. Yeah, played for the loose red above the black, which obviously is available. Building up a very handy lead here.
54.
2 more reds and colours, and he'll be within a frame of victory.
And since Mark Selby missed that blue when 9-6 was very much in sight, he hasn't potted a ball.
$55.
Snooker's all about momentum. When you start to score well and pot well, your focus and your concentration are always there. When you make mistakes and you're feeling the pressure, it just obliterates completely all that focus and concentration that you've built up before. I think that may have worked out for Ali okay. There may be a red on into the centre pocket here, and he can play it almost plain ball and be on the black. Shouldn't be difficult, and it's handy that there's a red that's finished against the cushion rail as well. It's just a little bit more insurance for Ali Carter should a mistake be made.
And that black would be all he needs. Selby would be at the snooker's required stage. Oh, but he's pushed it to the jaw. Now then, a further twist.
62.
He was 2 pots away there from 9-8. Now, what can Mark Selby, who's been largely frozen out since that miss blue, do with this? How's he feeling? Oh, there's your answer. Out of stroke now, Selby. Suffering a bit. No doubt thinking about what might have been when he had this match seemingly in his grasp. Carter still looking for a red and blue or better for 9-8. Selby retakes his seat, fearing the worst. He'll need another red in taking the green.
Four.
This for 9-8.
Five.
And the opportunity to keep Selby in his chair. Break of 66 to turn that all-important 15th frame around. A further run of 83 to win the previous frame. And now 74-0 in this one. Selby
13.
will go into the next frame, which he has to win, having not potted a ball for 2.5 frames. He had the chance there when Carter missed the red, but it wasn't to be.
19. 20. 27. 28. 28 end of play. Out.
Mark Selby remains in his chair. He's now going to win the last 2 frames of this match. Ali Carter 1 up with 2 to play at 9 frames to 8. If ever one ball turned a match, it was the blue that Mark Selby missed when he was close to 9-6 up on Ali Carter. Selby's just dropped his chalk. I think it was his chalk anyway.
It was, but because they use these circular blocks, they can roll all over the place and be like 3 yards away in no time.
Anyway, since that missed blue, Ali Carter has scored 268 points without reply. A measure of how this match has turned very dramatically his way. And now Mark Selby, who's not really had a sniff of the table since that error on the blue, he's got to regroup, summon the blood to win 2 frames in a row. We know he's more than capable of that. When you talk about resilience, it's hard to imagine there's been a more resilient player in the history of the game than Selby, but he's up against someone who's now flying, full of confidence, and that's a big mistake from Selby. Missing the thin edge of the red, crashing into them. What's the damage?
Plenty. How often do you see a mistake like that from Mark Selby? He's really feeling it at the moment. Has been. Since he missed that blue to the green pocket and Ali Carter stepped in to win the frame. Just stealing himself a 1 good pot here that would get him in good position to potentially win frame and match from here. This red to the centre pocket looks straightforward. I promise you it isn't. Well done. Played the simple positional shot to the pink, in spite of the fact he knows the pink will be tied up once it's potted.
Well, he said ahead of this tournament that he owed Mark Allen a drink for Allen's decision to withdraw from the tournament. I think it could be a case of champagne, the way things are going.
Well, there are plenty of loose reds dotted around, but you wouldn't really play for any of them, so I think Ali will probably want to go into the pack of reds from this next colour. But that's travelled a little too far. He's intimating with his cue that he suffered a fast bounce there. Maybe he was right. So I don't think he'd risk going into the pack of reds now. But if he cannons one of the 2 reds above the cue ball, he may be okay. You've just got to play the easiest shot that you can play. If he wants to go into the pack now, he'd have to play it with a lot of right-hand side, which makes the pot risky.
Selby looking understandably concerned. He seemed to be bossing this match when he led 8-6. He'd won 4 out of 5 frames. And the resumption this evening looks set to make it 5 out of 6. But Carter not in prime position anymore. So a good shot required to keep the break going. Which he's played.
16.
Oh, that was a great pot. And he managed to dig into the cue ball to kill the pace of it to hold for a bulk colour. Now, they're a great pack of reds to go into from a bulk colour, so would he risk the green here? More angle on the green, easier to go into the reds from, but the pot is just slightly more difficult than the brown. These are all the decisions you have to make when you're under pressure. Decided instead to play for one of these reds into the corner pocket, and I think he's played a really good positional shot there. He can play for the black from this.
20. One.
Well, Ali can get a lot of reaction out the cue ball. He'll need all of that here if he does go into the pack of reds. They're not a great pack of reds to go into from the black, but if he can somehow dig into the... Oh, he's too straight. Do you know, these camera angles can really fox you sometimes. So he had no choice but to play for this loose red. Needs a better angle this time, though.
28.
And this time he is absolutely perfectly on the black, but how will these reds open? If ever you needed a bit of luck, it's now.
Well, that's now over 300 points without reply from Carter. But is he on a red?
Well, maybe the one close to the pink, but that's not the one he'd like to be on because the cue ball's going into the reds from there, so he's got to hedge his bets here. Does he think he can play through the reds to play for the black, or does he need to trust to luck? And if so, he'll have to play it with a little bit more pace. He could play a delicate cannon into the reds to hold for the pink to the centre, but that could go wrong. If he plays a deep screw through the reds, there's a better chance of being on a colour, I feel, but does he fancy just holding for the pink?
Thirty-seven.
Well, what a chance Carter has got now. 37 in front. Plenty of reds out in the open. This is a gilt-edged opportunity for another memorable victory.
44.
And what would be yet another 4-frame burst, his third in a row. 5-2 down against Williams, 5-2 down against Xiao Guodong,
45.
8-6 down to Mark Selby. This match is at his mercy.
You can't help but feel, can you, that he's somehow fated to win this event. Performances he's put in at the point of no return in his previous matches, as you've just said, Phil, needed to win 4 straight frames and he's managed it twice.
The blue that Selby missed when he was on the cusp of 9-6 certainly felt very significant at the moment, but Selby could not have imagined that he wouldn't pot another ball thereafter, but that is now a serious possibility.
One.
75 left.
Well, it's brown or yellow, isn't it? You've got the red near the left corner, you've got the one above the pink. You're going to be on one of them.
So a red and any colour, and Ali Carter will be in the final. And a guaranteed £105,000, which he would not have envisaged earning just 2.5 weeks ago, before he got a text from Mark Allen saying, "Pack your bags, I'm pulling out." But much more importantly, from Carter's point of view, the chance to become a double Shanghai Masters champion. And how well has he played from the moment he touched down in China. It's not just the way that he's finished this match.
74.
It was the brilliant comebacks against Williams and Zhao Guodong from the brink of defeat. He's shown nerves of steel, and he's thoroughly deserved to win this match, because he's looked the stronger of the two when the pressure has been at its most intense. Big disappointment for Mark Selby, who was looking good at 8-6.
79.
He played brilliantly himself to beat Trump, and before that Murphy. But it's Ali Carter through to the Shanghai Masters final. What a performance. Yet another comeback from the captain. He's making a career out of it here in Shanghai. For the third time in a row, he's turned around an unfavourable position, showing his steel when it matters most, and he can now look forward to Sunday's final. He'll have Saturday off, and he can watch Karen Wilson and Zhao Jintong go at it hammer and tongs. But in the meantime, it's Carter from 8-6 down with a 4-frame burst for the third time in a row, who's defeated Mark Selby by 10 frames to 8.